Hey, David Charney here. We have another commonly asked question. What is micro-e-learning? Now, we're not talking about tiny size courses here. Micro-e-learning based modules or instructional animations allow a learner to meet their performance goals in a very short amount of time. Thanks for watching. Wait, okay, I won't end the video quite yet. Actually, that raises a good point though. Micro-e-learning doesn't mean the creation of e-learning that is shorter than it should be. It is certainly about time length, but also about after-course performance. With busy work days, commuting, being mobile, and just-in-time knowledge needs, it isn't any wonder why micro-e-learning, which can often be called micro-learning, short courses, chunk learning, bursts, bites, and even e-learning snacks, have been becoming so popular. There's no definitive time requirements for micro-e-learning, but they're often between 1 and 5 minutes long, and don't be surprised if 10 to 15 minutes works best for you and, of course, your audience. The key is that they feel short and manageable to the learner. Because of the short seat times, micro-e-learning tends to be very focused on what information reaches the performance goals and what doesn't. It means we want a presentation method that rapidly presents information, encourages understanding, is less overwhelming without information overload, and raises retention, which all leads to meeting those performance goals. And keep in mind that it's not always feasible to meet the objectives of a course or curriculum with micro-e-learning. Do your best, be creative, and don't forget to make sure your LMS supports your micro-e-learning approaches regarding navigation, scoring, and tracking. So how do we create micro-e-learning? Here's where our instructional and creative design skills really come in handy. The intention isn't just to cut out material, so instead of a 30-slide course, it's a 15-slide course, although sometimes that might be the best option. We want to create a course that engages or connects to the learner while meeting those performance goals in a short amount of time. So we should take a step back and be ready to think differently about what the end result might be. Every project is different, and so it is up to you to gauge what's in, what's out, and what might be a different approach altogether to connect the information to the learner, empower and prepare them to succeed. That said, here are a handful of ideas and approaches to consider. Throw them in feet first. It's common to start off projects with introduction slides, overviews, history, and definitions. Consider skipping all these and just throw the learner right into an important situation or scenario. Get them using their brains right away in common situations and provide feedback or additional knowledge when they need it and not if they don't. Phrasing. Don't start without the parts. It can be a lot more memorable and quick to learn than. We recommend that you do not start assembly until you make sure you have all the parts available. Tweak your sentences, reduce, create phrases, even memorable slogans. Be creative. Focus on the learning gaps. It's common to see a process explained by giving equal time to each step. If we have 5 steps at 2 minutes each, we have a 10-minute project. But if all the steps are extremely straightforward, aside from, let's say, step 4, perhaps each step needs 30 seconds, with step 4 ending up at a longer 3-minute explanation. Now we end up with a 5-minute course instead of a 10-minute course, and a course much more focused on the learning gaps. Stoplight editing. A trick for finding what information is relevant. Read through all your material and mark it green if it seems absolutely necessary to know, or a building block for additional information. Yellow if it might not be needed, you're not sure, and red if it's not absolutely important. Delete the red, then iterate. After a few times, you'll significantly reduce your material. You can keep editing it, changing it around, and then keep going through it again and again using the stoplight trick. Present it differently. Don't get stuck presenting the same way you always have been. Be creative about it. Consider animating out the story or make it a game, or both. Use audio and simple imagery to connect more memorable images to simple audio bites. Create unique requirements that might limit the time and focus, and just get creative. See what you can come up with. Throw a bunch of ideas at the wall and see what sticks. Set your own seat time goal. If you decide your project is going to be 5 minutes in length, maybe a decision you've made, or you recognize this through other data you have or surveys, whatever it might be, stick to it. Stick to that 5 minutes. You will find all kinds of creative ways to shave off what is unnecessary and engage your audience in new ways. Split it up. Finally, consider splitting your course up into individual learning points. Consider that a 10-hour-long movie may run a little long, but 10 one-hour-long episodes in a mini-series is perfect. While we're not necessarily reducing material, the smaller chunks, smaller bites, can make learning much more manageable and focused. So have fun reinventing your shorter, more focused micro-e-learning projects. Happy e-learning!